Hi, I'm Tim Andrews.
And I'm Jackie DeVito.
Welcome to the Courageous Hearts podcast.
Welcome.
So today, a lot of the things that you and I have been talking about is and where Courageous Hearts came from and why we came up with it, is because the amount of courage that it takes to put yourself out there and to heal, to be who you were always supposed to be. I mean, Carl Jung had a quote that I probably will butcher, but the quote is something like this: "The biggest gift you can give yourself is be the person that you were supposed to be."
I love that.
Yeah, it was a real cool quote. I read that a couple weeks ago, and this is where I believe we came up. We went through so many different names, and when we kept coming back through, it was just the amount of courage that it takes to do the type of work that we're doing and to change. And there's so many people out there that I believe they do want to change. And I can only say from my experience, I did want to change. The pain and the fear of letting go of things that I was comfortable with, even though it was painful being in there, it took a lot of courage.
Yeah. I think that's because the things that end up keeping us stuck are the very things that protect us in childhood.
Yep.
So like if it's, being emotionally unavailable or disconnected, then that might have been the very thing that helped us in childhood to not feel all of the sadness or disappointment, or we just learned to shut down. This is just an example. We just learned to shut down our emotions to
I did.
survive.
And it was about survival. We'll do a podcast on that later, just
Yeah.
around like these childhood things that we put into play to help us survive. And it was when I was in, I mean, I just remember like this stark conversation that I had, and I know I shared it before, but it was just so stark when I was talking to my therapist, and my therapist, this just happened to be in an old relationship that, or my previous relationship that I was in. And the therapist said to me, David, he said, Tim, you guys do not have the same values. And he had been with me for 8-9 years at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew me well, and he had been through the gauntlet with me. And when he said that, it was stark. I didn't see him for a year after that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next time I came back in to see him, the pain had gotten so great that I said, hey, I need help with this and getting a divorce. And that took courage.
Yeah, I bet. I'm just thinking about the AA term when they talk about the gift of desperation.
Mm.
Because, and you say this all the time, I feel bad even saying it because you say it so much, but it's like if it's a little bit better than our childhood, we will
Mm-hmm.
endure it.
Mm-hmm. We will.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like what brought me. So all of the work that we do, everything we do with our clients, everything we do in our workshop, Tim and I have done in our personal healing journey and continue to do.
Mm-hmm.
We still have and by the way, when we work with our clients and this stuff, we're we're doing our sadness
Mm-hmm.
and doing our anger as well. So it's a continuous um, doing of the work. And I think for me, I learned to bury so much to be able to survive that when I became a mom, I was going to say mother and mom at the same time. When I became a mom, I, I don't know, it was like I built all of this, like a scab over that wound. And then I became a mom and I got like ripped open.
Mm.
And it was like I was watching all of my friends' parents show up for them. I was a parent for the first time with no type of guidance, wondering if I was going to even know how to do this right because of my lack of relationship with my own mom. My mom was 16 when she got pregnant, and my grandparents really took that role. But it's different, even though they raised me and they were, they were a huge source of love in my life. It's different. They're your grandparents too, so you
Mm-hmm.
don't get that like
Mm-mm.
that. I became a mom, and I'm like, am I gonna know how to do this?
Mm-hmm.
and then also like being around my kids and being like, how can someone deny their children love? Because that's what it felt like
Mm-hmm.
with growing up without my mom and my dad. My mom was there, but not really, and then my dad was not in the picture. So all of that superficial kind of covering of the pain that I also did with alcohol as well, and being social, and all the ways that I tried to kind of run from it were just stripped, and I was raw as a
Mm-hmm.
young mom, which was a gift because it led me to do all this self-development work. My kids, I'll say it time and time again, it was like a mirror that was sent to me.
Sure.
So So yeah, it takes a lot of courage to go in and do this work, and it's like you have everything. It's like soil. You have all this soil, like
Mm-hmm.
you have all these things buried, and then you have all this soil, and then you pour concrete over it, and then we gotta like drill, baby drill,
Mm-hmm.
and it's painful.
It is healing, and that's why we keep going back. It takes courage, and it takes a courageous heart to want to go back in through, because a lot of things get to change. And I was so afraid of change, of what I thought was steady. And that was where I stayed stuck, even though the pain of living was great.
Yeah.
That was the pain, and I know it's. I remember so many people said, like, I want to be like Ed Milet, or I want to be like Joe Dispenza, or I want to be like Tony Robbins. I mean, on and on. I remember thinking that, like, I want to be like that. I mean, it's finally over the last like 5 years. I just want to be Tim Andrews.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I want to be, and it takes courage to be Tim Andrews,
Mm-hmm.
because Tim Andrews is big. He's bold. He's funny. He's loving. He's kind. He dances.
Vulnerable. He's
He's
sweet.
vulnerable.
Yeah.
He laughs. He'll go to
Mm-hmm.
any lengths. It
He
takes
loves
courage. I
you.
do
You
love.
love big.
I do love. I do love. And it takes courage to
Yeah.
step into that and be who you're supposed to be in the world, who you always were in the world.
Yeah.
Because with that, not to quote the line from Spider-Man, because with that, there's just a tremendous amount of responsibility.
Sure.
Because integrity is a piece of that. Honesty is a piece of that. Honesty is what feeds integrity. And then we get to look at, like, we're here, and this is a Tony Robbins quote, but as far as we're here to contribute to the world, we're here to grow and contribute. And he has the 6 basic human needs: certainty, uncertainty, significance, love and connection, growth and contribution. And I was always stuck in like certainty, which was comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not, I wanted certainty and I wanted significance. I wanted to be important. I wanted everybody to like me, so that was the significance. And I wanted like this level of certainty, and what all this growth and all the work, it brought a lot of uncertainty into my life.
Oh yeah.
And that's what it brought into my life, because it doesn't, you don't, and a lot of times people, I think about this often, people will come to see me, and then I know that they want to change, and I know that they're really afraid to change. They're really afraid to let go. They're really afraid to do anything different. And I know without a doubt, if they'll stop seeing me. I know without a doubt all the same things are going on, and they've found another protection. Buy a plane, get a property, get a house, go on vacations, split up the money. Like, they just find another form of protection because of the amount of courage and how painful it is.
Well, I think one of the reasons it takes a lot of courage is that, so I remember in the beginning of my healing journey, like, yes, I had the sad story, I had the chaotic childhood. And then once you tell the story, they're like, okay, well, what are you going to do about it today?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Aren't you just going to sit and feel sorry for me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel sorry for myself. They were like, no, we're not. So this is your life. What are you going to do about it? And that's really where the courage,
Mm-hmm.
because I was very lucky to find, where I actually met you, which was our mentors program that's no longer around, but it was really based on responsibility.
All about it.
So I wanted somebody to support my victim. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you about my childhood, and let me tell you about my childhood. And like, by the 5th time I was telling the story, people were like, okay, we get it. Now what?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the thing is that nobody's gonna come save us.
Nope. Nope. No one, and no one's supposed to. And it was something that you had said to me yesterday, or I think it was the day before yesterday. You were like, "Are you?" And you were joking, but you're like, "Are you ever gonna get sick of me?" Because I'm going through my stuff. I said, "I'll never get sick of you, babe. I'll never get sick of you."
Mm-hmm.
And you and it was like, why? I was like, because I don't need to rescue you. I don't
Mm-hmm.
rescue. I just love you. I just love you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any. There's no other. I can, and I don't have. There's not because there's nothing to fix. Because it's our job to handle our stuff.
Yeah.
We can have support. We can be in a tremendous amount of support of one another, which we are. That'll never
Mm-hmm.
stop. And
Mm-hmm.
then we just get to be with one another, and we get
Mm-hmm.
to let each other have the experience and give each other the courtesy, which is very loving, to grow, expand, and be who we're supposed to be, like we had said. And because there isn't, the rescue is just another, the rescue for me would just be another form of a way of me protecting my abandonment, which would be my rescue. You know what I mean? To
Mm-hmm.
rescue you would be rescuing me in my
Mm-hmm.
abandonment.
Mm-hmm.
And so no one's doing the work.
Right. Yeah, I was talking to um, my therapist the other day, and we were talking about what comes up for me in my overwhelm, because that's where I've been stuck lately. It's just overwhelm, just a lot of things kind of coming all at once. And when we broke down why I do overwhelm, it all came down to my self-love.
Mm.
I'm in overwhelm because everybody comes before me. I'm not putting in boundaries. I'm not getting up early to do meditation or go to the gym or the things that keep our head above water. I'm just going, 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 going. And then I'm overwhelmed, and then I'm stressed, and then I get to be angry and feel bad for myself and all the things. And then I thought about it, like, isn't it interesting that it's still that thing that I've been working on for 20
Mm-hmm.
years? But it looked, it just finds new and interesting ways.
Mm-hmm.
So 20 years ago, it looked very different, right? It showed up in, it was way more self destructive.
Mm-hmm.
It showed up in drinking. It showed up in being in relationships where I wasn't valued. It showed up in being in a job that was not the best job for me. So, like, way more kind of these big
Mm-hmm.
areas. And then now it's like, oh, I'm not waking up a half hour earlier to meditate.
Mm. Mm-hmm. And you're tired, or your back hurts. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it literally is all that stuff. Or you're eating, Cheetos or whatever. You know what I mean?
Pirate booty.
Goldfish, pirate booties, whatever it is that you eat. And that is the way it shows up. And again, to not do those things take courage, because you're left to face the feeling that's actually behind the overwhelm in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
which is a ton of sadness and shame.
Yeah.
Those are big hits.
There's something else that takes a lot of courage in this work is the outgrowing of some of our community
Mm-hmm. Oh
partners,
yeah.
because uh, we're very lucky that we do the work together.
Mm-hmm.
We have a thing that we do all our self development together, because it creates a lot more intimacy and support and all those things that we believe in, and we both enjoy it,
Mm-hmm.
which is great.
It's like a hobby.
Yeah, but it wasn't always like that for me.
Mm-mm.
And it isn't like that in many other areas of my life. I think out of my friends and
Mm-hmm.
family, I'm the only one that
Mm-hmm.
does self development,
Right.
at least to this level.
Mm-hmm. Or honestly, any level.
Yeah, I always describe it like the Matrix. Like, take the red pill or take the blue pill. Once you take, I forgot which one they does what in the Matrix, but I know that once you take it, you just kind of like look at life from another perspective that you can't unsee. And then
Right.
you're still in this same system that is doing the same old stuff that you're kind of trying to grow out of.
Mm-hmm. I say it often, the good news and the other news about doing the type of work that we're doing. The good news is that you'll heal and you'll have a better life. And the other news is that the road gets a lot narrower, because not everybody's on that road, and you don't have a lot of bandwidth for what you had the bandwidth before, and then letting go of that, that, things, people, situations that no longer serve you with the type of codependency that I have and the people pleasing I have, very difficult because I don't want to hurt people's feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the things, as we continue to move forward with all of our workshops and deepening them, and a lot of the different new age work that we've taken on and been able to like cultivate with a lot of the people that we have the opportunity to be in relationship with and connect with. And I was just talking to Matt today about this, and I said, get well so that you can raise your level of consciousness, because the Courageous Hearts is a movement, and it's to be out in the world to help people heal and have better lives. And it takes courage to even walk through our doors, because the minute someone sits down, we, within a very short period of time, we know their life without having to know
Yeah,
their
it's
life.
patterns. We recognize patterns. So I was thinking about a conversation I had with another therapist who's a friend of mine. She lives out in Arizona, and because during the separation and divorce process for me, I lost a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
that meant a lot to me. I lost the idea of this like nuclear family that you have when you get married. You know, and also like the grieving of the person that I used to be that allowed some of the things that I allowed.
Mm-hmm.
And she said to me, while you're grieving, don't forget to celebrate,
Mm-hmm.
because less than 1% of women, I don't know if this is a true fact, but this is what she said. Less than 1% of women get to a space where they're not financially dependent on someone or emotionally dependent on someone. And I get to be in a relationship because I want to be in a relationship, not because I need to be in a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
or I need someone to support me, or I need someone to help me with my self-esteem. I've done so much work that I really am like emotionally, I think, pretty evolved throughout the
Mm-hmm.
last 10 years, at least 10, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And financially, have created my own way.
Abundance.
Yeah, a lot of
You
abundance.
create a lot of abundance.
Yeah.
Most definitely, you have.
Yeah. And, I was thinking about that. And she said, I remember when I was in corporate America, there was a term called rarefied air. And they would do this chart where different brands were. And when you were all up on your own, that was called rarefied air. I don't know. But that's what I think of when I think of what all this work has created for me, is this space of being independent in so many ways as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Free. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't say independent to me feels like, I know it's good, but that feels a little harsh. Like I don't need anybody. Like no, but I'm with the people that I surround myself with, people that I surround myself because I want to be with them, not because I need to, or
Mm-hmm.
I'm obligated. But also in the space of rarefied air, it can be lonely to find other women in this space.
And it takes, I know we keep saying the word, it takes courage to seek. And we'll finish off because I know we're close to ending here, but we'll just share the story that we had last week. We're at the farmers market. We walk around the farmers market. We're connected to Alex, and I don't know his wife's names.
Isa.
They're very sweet, very kind. They're amazing, great bread. Just amazing people. So we always go there. We always get
Yeah,
bread
they
from them.
sell amazing sourdough.
They're the best. All kinds of stuff. And we go
Mm-hmm.
there and we're hanging out, and then we're walking through. We're talking to them, give them a hug, whatever. And then as we were walking around the back, and we were talking, I was like, those are people that you can be friends with, like that,
Mm-hmm.
because we were talking about how difficult it is to make friends. And
Mm-hmm.
then you're like, oh, I can't ask them for their phone number. I'm like, why not? And then because it takes courage, because you go
Yeah.
up against something. I mean, that's exactly how it works.
Yeah.
And then we just walked through, and I walked over and I said, hey, Jackie's afraid to ask for your phone number and I said, but you guys would be good friends. And she was like, oh my God, we would be good friends. And then so you changed phone number with her, and with Alex, and we were sitting there talking for like a half hour, and we're in alignment with how we see things spiritually, and nutritionally, which is physically.
Mhm.
It's an alignment, and they're hard workers. You know what I mean? So it's
Family oriented, a
yeah,
lot of
very
the
fan, very
things. Yeah.
very very Christian. I mean, I don't know, but very spiritual, very kind,
Mhm.
and all. And it took, you got to ask. It's like going on a date. You got to ask for a phone number, and
It
then
was like a play date.
we haven't done anything yet, and we will though.
Yeah.
That's the point. And it takes knowing who you are, and it takes courage to be able to step outside of that, and then really work on, I believe, like this purpose-driven life, which was an old book that was written a long time ago. But a purpose-driven life is one that's devoted to serve,
Mhm.
and to contribute in the world, and
Mhm.
then and that, and then you'll get all your whatever the needs are, you'll get your needs and wants met from that.
Yeah, I think serving, the best way to serve is to lead by example.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Anyway, thank you, Tim. This was a wonderful conversation, but I want to ask you, what are the top 3 things that you think our listeners should take away from this?
Do things. The work's important. Do the work. Even
Mhm.
if you're afraid and sad and ashamed,
Mhm.
do the work, or the work will do you.
Mhm.
That's I've seen that multiple times.
Mhm.
Stay connected
Mhm.
with yourself and your and what your needs are as far as your self-love goes,
Mhm.
and be courageous. Be courageous in your life. You're
Mhm.
supposed to have it all.
Yeah.
You will not get it without being courageous.
Mhm. Yeah, if I were to add one more thing
That'd be
similar
4.
to You know what? We're abundant. Bring it.
Everybody, you're making 5 things out there.
Is to trust yourself.
That's a good one.
Trust yourself when you know that you deserve more. Trust yourself when you know that something is off. Trust yourself because we know,
Mm-hmm.
like we instinctively know when there's something that needs to, when
Yep.
there's change. And when we fight it, I think that's when it becomes really painful.
Mm-hmm.
And we can be supported through change. We don't have to do it alone.
Yep.
That's all.
That's it.
Now go.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. And if you would like to know more about Courageous Hearts, we have a book, Courageous Connections. And if you'd like to know more about Courageous Hearts, you can go on courageousheartscoaching.com. And there's where where everything is basically, a lot of our podcast, where our retreats are, things about Jackie and I and how to get in contact with us. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.